Nobody ever told you that the way you handle small, everyday decisions might already be separating you from most people financially. Not your income, not your job, not your background, just the quiet, almost invisible patterns in the way you think about money, time, and choices. Today, we're going through 10 of those patterns, and this video isn't about showing you how far you have to go. It's about helping you see how far you may have already come without ever calling it anything. Let's get into it. Number 10. They don't spend money to shape how others see them. Quietly wealthy people don't buy things to send a message. They aren't upgrading something because someone around them just did. They aren't choosing a place or wearing a certain brand because of how it reads to other people. Every financial decision they make is genuinely theirs. It comes from what they actually value, not from what they want people to assume about them. That might sound simple, but this gap between spending for yourself and spending for an audience is one of the most quietly expensive traps that exists. Most people fall into it without ever noticing. Number 9. They always know roughly where they stand. Not because they're running spreadsheets every evening or obsessing over every number, just because over time they developed a natural, low stress awareness of their financial picture. They know what came in this month, they know approximately what went out. There are no big surprises at the end of the month because they aren't running on financial autopilot. They aren't perfect with money, nobody is, but they are conscious, and that consciousness, that simple awareness of where you actually are, creates a kind of quiet stability that most people spend years chasing without ever finding it. Number 8. They find real satisfaction in the invisible wins. Things like watching a savings account grow without making a big deal about it, or choosing to repair something rather than replace it and genuinely feeling good about that choice, or paying something off without telling a single person. These aren't headline moments. No one posts about them. But quietly wealthy people find something real in these small, unglamorous victories. And that satisfaction is part of what keeps the habits alive. They aren't waiting for a dramatic financial milestone to feel like something is working. They recognize value in progress that nobody else can see. Number 7. They almost never feel regret after they spend money. When they buy something, it's because they actually decided to, not because they were bored, not because they were emotional in the moment. They thought about it, they made a real choice, and so they enjoy what they bought without guilt following it. Buyer's remorse is genuinely rare for these people, not because they spend without thought, but because they spend with intention. Those two things can look similar from the outside, but the experience of living them is completely different. One leaves you satisfied, the other leaves you quietly drained every single time. Number 6. They already have a cushion and they almost never need to touch it. An emergency fund isn't a future goal for them. They built it at some point quietly without any announcement, and it just sits there. And because it's there, an unexpected expense doesn't wreck their month. A surprise bill doesn't spiral into anxiety. They handle it and move on. From the outside, this cushion is completely invisible. Nobody could see it, but it's doing an enormous amount of work every single day. Because the peace of mind that comes from knowing you can handle whatever shows up is one of the most powerful financial advantages a person can have. Number 5. They regularly ask themselves one honest question before spending. Do I actually want this, or do I just want the feeling of having it right now? That question sounds easy, but answering it honestly takes real self-awareness. Quietly wealthy people have made this a natural pause in their process. They don't always say no, but they always ask. And many times the honest answer completely changes what they do next. Over years, that one small pause has quietly protected them from countless purchases that would have brought almost no lasting satisfaction at all. Small question, very large compounding result. Number 4. They treat their mental clarity like something genuinely worth protecting. They don't scatter their attention carelessly. They don't agree to things that drain them without giving anything meaningful back. They're selective about where their energy actually goes. And that's not simply a personality preference, it's a financial habit. Because the quality of your thinking determines the quality of every decision you make. Quietly wealthy people understand, even if they never say this out loud, that protecting their clarity is one of the highest return habits in their entire life. A clear head makes better choices. Better choices build better outcomes, over and over and over, quietly, for years. Number 3, they are completely unmoved by urgency that comes from outside themselves. Someone tells them about something moving fast, a deal that ends soon, an opportunity that everyone around them is jumping on. They listen, and then they pause, and then they think. They're simply not built to react to pressure that originates from someone else, because they learned at some point that urgency created by another person almost always benefits that person more than it benefits you. The ability to stay calm and still while everything around you is moving fast isn't a personality quirk, it's a skill, and it has protected quietly wealthy people more times than they can count. Number 2, they measure their progress privately and on their own terms. Their internal sense of how they're doing financially has nothing to do with what the people around them can observe. Not a car, not a home upgrade, not a vacation. They have a personal standard they track themselves against, and that standard lives entirely in their own mind. Nobody else can see it, nobody else even knows it exists, and that's exactly what makes it work. The moment you start measuring your financial life against what others can observe, your decisions stop being yours. They quietly become a performance, and maintaining a performance is one of the most expensive things a person can do. Number 1, they have options, and they are fully aware of it. This is the deepest one. Quietly wealthy people have built their life in a way that gives them real choices. They could walk away from a situation that isn't working for them. They could absorb an unexpected expense without everything falling apart. They could say no to something without it costing them more than they're willing to give. That freedom, the ability to choose rather than be pushed, is what financial security actually feels like from the inside. It's not a number on a screen, it's not a specific milestone. It's a quiet, steady awareness that whatever comes next, they have options, and that awareness changes everything about the way they move through the world. Here's what all 10 of these habits have in common. None of them begin with a high income. None of them require you to already have everything figured out. They start with awareness, with small, deliberate choices made consistently over time. Most people who have quietly built real financial security started with just one or two of these habits, and then they simply kept going. If even a couple of these felt like they were describing you, that's not a small thing. That's something genuinely worth paying attention to. And if this gave you something real to sit with today, the next video is already there waiting for you. I think it'll be worth your time.